What's up, beauties? Lisa May here. I hope you all are having a fabulous, happy, and prosperous 2018. Today I want to share with you a book that I recently read, but before I do, I'd like to take a moment to share a very quick word with you. If you remember from my last video, I was telling you how I was taking the Prayer Power Challenge with Chanel Cooper Sykes. Well, I've done that, and I've actually stayed in that mode, which is why you haven't seen a video from me, because I've really been focused on my prayer life and, staying in the Word and just really cultivating, my spirit and my prayer life and my relationship with God. In doing so, I actually received a word that I want to share with you all, which is 2018 is the year of the Holy Spirit. If you don't know what the Holy Spirit is, if you kind of know what the Holy Spirit is, but you're not too sure, or you know, but you've just kind of like forgotten about it, I'll leave a link below in the description box to the last two sermons from my pastor from World Changers. I'll leave that below so you can, have a look and just kind of get reacquainted with the Holy Spirit. But basically, 2018 is the year that a lot of people are going to discover their purpose. It's the year that a lot of people are going to walk in their purpose. And it's the year that a lot of people who know their purpose and are walking in their purpose are going to excel in their purpose. And the reason being is because they have the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And it's going to lead them to the places where God has ordained them to go. 2018 is the year where God is really raising up those people that He has called to do things for Him. Whatever God has called you to do, God could have called you to be a baker. He could have called you to be a small business owner. He could have called you to be a media mogul. Whatever He has called you to do, and people have been obedient to that and have walked into that, it's the year where He's going to raise them up and really take them where He wants them to go. He's really going to lead them and guide them. People are going to be divinely led. So I just wanted to share that quick word with you. If you've been feeling like you don't really know what your purpose is, or and you've just been like, I really just want to encourage you to just go ahead and get reacquainted with the Holy Spirit and let Him guide you to where God has destined you to go. Okay? All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of today. I wanted to share with you a book that I recently read, Happy Women Live Better by Valerie Burton. 13 ways to trigger your happiness every day. Basically what the book is about is it kind of explores some of the research that's done in the case of women and their happiness, offers ways for women to trigger their happiness, because she says that happiness is a skill and that 40% of happiness is what you do intentionally, your everyday habits, your relationships, how you spend your time. So she offers you some things to do to kind of trigger that intentionality. And so I really enjoyed reading this book. One thing that I particularly enjoyed about reading this book is Valerie Burton is a Christian, and you can tell that she was led by the Holy Spirit in writing this book. I could just feel it when I read the book. I didn't, not for one moment was my soul or my spirit kind of grieved reading the book. Everything in there just seemed like, okay. It just felt like truths, truth bombs, one after the other. And the biggest thing that I took away from this book is that I did not have to wait for any external thing to happen in order to live my life and to be happy. That, I was responsible for a big part of my happiness, if not all of my happiness, I didn't have to wait to be married or be in a relationship with my husband in order to be happy. That I could start living my best life now, and that I was in control of it, and I could help co-create my life and co-anchor my life, because I know a lot of people say that they're, the captain of their ship, and that, they're in control of their life, and that's all fine and great and whoop-de-doo. Me personally though, God is in control of my life. Like, I want God to be the captain of my ship, the captain of my soul, and I'll be the co-captain. But anyways, I'll share with you some of the statistics that the book opens up with, because I think it's pretty interesting. The first statistic that she shares is that while women were told they could have it all, and it's assumed that most women want to climb the professional ladder, 75% of working women say that they aspire to a financial lifestyle that would allow them to stop working and stay home. And so I thought that was pretty interesting, because it seems like with 2018, I started to say 2017, but with 2018 being in this 21st century, it seems like women have kind of moved away from, wanting to stay home traditionally and kind of take care of home. They've wanted to get out in the world and achieve things in the world. So I think that's very interesting that 75% say that they aspire to a financial lifestyle that would allow them to stop working and stay home. But it kind of leads me to the question of, how do you define having it all? Is having it all found in a boardroom or in a corporate office? How do you define having it all? The second statistic is that women who pursue it all, and she says having it all is education, career, marriage, and children. So while women who do pursue it all are increasingly discovering that the more they achieve in their education and their career, the smaller their chances are of getting married and having children, which the opposite is actually true for men. Like, that's really interesting. Why is that? But I guess, I don't know. I think if I were to answer that question myself, I would think that it's because women tend to find men who are educated and successful, they find them more attractive versus a man who isn't, because typically men have been charged with being the provider and the breadwinner and pretty much the provider, the head of the household. So you want a man, typically women want men who can do that, who can provide. And the more education and the more career he has, the better chances he has of providing. Where I guess men, on the other hand, maybe they feel intimidated by a woman who does, I guess. I don't know. What do you think? The third statistic that she shares is that women today are twice as likely to be depressed as men, which I think is also interesting, because typically, I know for me, I tend to think or believe that men have it harder just out in the world, because they're responsible for being the provider of the family and the head of the household. So I typically think that they have a lot of pressure on them to provide. And with the climate that we live in, especially if you're a man of color, it's kind of hard out here, But maybe that's a testament to, how women really hold their men down, and they really kind of take the brunt of that pressure, to where maybe they're feeling it. I don't know. Or maybe it's because maybe women now are in the workforce and they're starting to assume that pressure. I don't know. But I think that's interesting. What do you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think, because I think that's pretty interesting that women are twice as likely to be more depressed as men. Maybe because we have emotions, and men typically aren't, that prone to feeling emotions. Don't know. But it's pretty interesting, I think. The fourth statistic that she shares is that today, the average age of the first onset of depression is actually 10 years younger than it was just a generation ago. And I can tell you for myself, I can attest to this, because I really do feel like I've been having a belated quarter life crisis, which is probably one of the reasons why I took so much time after that prayer power challenge to really, go deep and just kind of get some things together, and why my focus now is even on being happy and being healthy, because I realized, like, oh my gosh, like this depression is kind of, you know, wearing on me, which I guess if you don't know, I do, you know, suffer from depression. Of course, the sun would go down when I say that. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Come back up, sun, come back up. Yeah, but you know, that's pretty interesting. To put it in another way, whereas a generation ago, women were getting depressed at, let's say, age 50 or 40, now they're starting to feel the grips of depression at 30 and 20. And which is really true, because like I said, I feel like I'm having a belated quarter life crisis, just like, oh my gosh. So I'm going to share with you some of the triggers that she shares, some of the things to do to trigger your happiness. But before I do, I actually want to read an excerpt from the book. I want to read an excerpt from the book that just kind of touches on this last statistic of how things are changing. Because whereas we millennials might not necessarily see that change, even though we're the ones being affected by the change, I guess what the Generation X or baby boomers, I forget what that generation ahead of us is called, but they see it a lot more clearly than we do. So, through multiple conversations and taking a look at the growing research, it has become obvious to me that the threat to women's happiness has been gradual. Because of that, most of us have not noticed the changes in expectations and dynamics over the last 40 years or so that have dramatically increased our stress levels and made it harder to achieve happiness. Women who were young adults in the 1960s and early 1970s point out the differences in cultural expectations easily. Having lived it and watched the changes over time, the contrast is stark. Quote, in 1972, there were fewer expectations on anybody about anything, pointed out Christine DeVivier, positive psychologist and parenting expert. Quote, I don't think there were as many expectations on anybody about what you were supposed to achieve or supposed to have. So that leaves me with the question, where's this expectation coming from? You know, is this an expectation that we're putting on ourselves? Is it an expectation that our parents are putting on us? Is it an expectation society is putting on us? Or is it simply that we're trying to keep up with technological advancement? I mean, you know, technology is moving so fast and propelling us so forward, whereas now, in order to feel like we're accomplished or successful, that we have to, I guess, achieve greater things. I don't know. I think for myself, I would kind of think that. I know for me, a lot of my pressure or expectation comes from myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself to, you know, achieve certain things because I want to. And then another question I actually want to ask, or, you know, a question that I want to pose to you all is, do you feel pressure to conquer the world? I know I do. And it's a pressure that comes from myself. It's not because, I mean, honestly, I could be living in like the 1940s and I probably still would have this same expectation of myself, because I think I was just born with a certain maybe goal in mind or in heart or in spirit or something. I don't know. But anyway, so let's move into some of the triggers. Let's not weigh ourselves down too much trying like have all the answers, you know. So the first trigger is anticipation. She says every day make sure you have something to look forward to. Anticipation is about stirring up positive emotions for the future. Every opportunity to generate excitement and joy in anticipation of an event multiplies your positive emotion. Trigger number 2 is to smile. She says to find a way to smile, especially on the bad days, because whether your smile is real or fake, it releases endorphins, which can actually spark an upward spiral of positive emotions. Trigger number 3 is service, and this is something that I really want to commit to personally. She says do at least one thing to brighten someone else's day. It's simply an act that produces peace and joy. Also, you know, thinking about you, or me all the time is a sure recipe for unhappiness, which is so true. It's so true. Trigger number 4 is financial savvy. She says to aim to live on 75% of your income, which this is a goal of mine. She says if you learn how to spend your money the right ways, it actually can trigger happiness. Trigger number 5 is gratitude. At the end of the day, reflect on the 3 best things about the day. This is just another act that generates or creates positive energy. And if you start positive emotion, and if you see the trend here, it's positive emotion, which actually triggers your happiness. Trigger number 6 is a favorite of mine, connection. Speak to family and friends more than you text and email them. Authentic connection energizes you and elevates your soul, which I love that. That is so true. And she also said something else which really stuck out to me, which is other people matter. I think we are living in a time now where everyone is, really focused on accomplishing their goals and succeeding and achieving success in life. And they're quick to say that, you need to cut off the people who aren't helping you to do that. You got to let people go and cut them off. And which, it is true. Sometimes you do have to break ties, because the Bible does say, I'm paraphrasing here, but it does say something to the effect of like bad communication spoils good habits. So that is true. You do have to let some people go, but you should do it in love, because other people do matter. And I think we kind of get to a place where we feel like people don't matter, and they do. I matter, you matter. God uses people and he works through people. People are God's greatest creation. We matter. Okay. Trigger number 7 is flow. This is one of my favorite ones, and this is also a big challenge for me. She says to minimize interruptions so you can fully engage in the activity at hand. This is the ability to concentrate so intently on an activity that you get completely absorbed by it. And once you do this, you start to feel alert, you feel alive, and you feel deeply satisfied. And that is so true. You really do. Like, your best productivity comes from your flow when you minimize them interruptions and just knock it out and get it going, and I really need to work on this, because I tend to give into distractions. Trigger number 8 is to play. She says to give yourself permission to play and be silly and have fun, like, let go, laugh a little, girl, enjoy life, okay? Trigger number 9 is relaxation. This is all about sleeping, resting, and embracing what is. This is about letting go of worry and not catastrophizing. Do not make a mountain out of a molehill. Let it go, girl. Let it go. And maybe this is one of the reasons why men, are less likely to be depressed as women, because men don't really do that. Men don't really make a big deal about things unless he you do got the, what they call them, Mitches. I done dealt with a few Mitches in my time. They are no fun. Like, to me, there's nothing worse than a petty male. Like, ooh, please keep it moving. But trigger number 10 is winning words. So every day speak words of hope, peace, and love. She says you are what you think. And she said something that I thought was very interesting, which is that thoughts become words long before they become actions. And that's so true. It really is so true. Speak words of encouragement, speak words of love, hope, peace, excitement, anticipation, success. Speak winning words. You want to win in life? Speak winning words. Trigger number 11 is movement. This is what I need to get back on. I have completely fallen off with my movement. But she says, spend 30 minutes moving your body every day, because it'll just give you an immediate boost in happiness. If you are someone who works out, or you worked out one time, you can attest to this. You was putting off going to the gym. You didn't want to do it, but, you did it, and instantly you felt better. Because it just, it releases a flood of endorphins. Just do it. Spend 30 minutes. After you finish watching this video, go walk around the block. Go walk around your neighborhood. Go to the gym. Go do something. Just spend 30 minutes moving your body. Go lift some weights. Go do something. Trigger number 12 is savoring. This is something that I personally need to work on, especially this year of 2018. Every day, enjoy a moment worth savoring. She says that sometimes we miss out on the things that really matter in life because we don't take time to just be present. And I know I am so guilty of that. I tend to rush through everything. I rush through my speech and my communication. I rush through my thoughts. I rush through any activity. So yes, I really want to slow everything down and just savor the moment. Last trigger, number 13, purpose. She says that happiness is not the sole aim of my existence, which I love that. Love that, love that, love that so much. For a number of reasons, but I won't get into that. But she says that when you find your purpose, you find your joy. So yes, beauties, that was the book, Happy Women Live Better by Valerie Burton. I hope you feel inspired to check it out because it's a really good book. I would really recommend you reading it, especially if you found yourself just feeling a little depressed or a little unhappy, or you're not sure of, how to boost your happiness. I would definitely encourage you to check out this book. And if you have read this book before, leave me a comment below and let me know how you enjoyed it, what your takeaway was, what your favorite trigger was. And also, if you read any other books by her, let me know that too, because I really do want to check out one of her books. I think it's called Happy Women Speak Differently. So that is all for now. Stick around for my next video, tips on going vegetarian. This month of January, I have completely cut meat out of my diet. It feels really good. It feels really good to be back on track. Also, just to let you know, you can expect to see videos from me every Monday. I'll try to post every Monday. I will try to be consistent this year, 2018. That is a goal of mine, to be consistent and to, really just do some good things with this channel, some fun things, some exciting things. Okay, so that's all for now, beautiful people. Until next time, Lisa May here saying peace, love, and blessings.